thank you guys for joining me today. And just really quick, as I do before all of these shows, I want to give a special shout out to the sponsor of the Raising Royalty series, which is Black Education Station. For those of you who are not familiar, I don't know where you've been, but Black Education Station is a streaming network on all your streaming platforms. So your Apple, Android, look at Joe on mommy duty, your Amazon, your Amazon platforms, even your television. So if you haven't had an opportunity, make sure you check out Black Education Station. It is educational content for Black children ages 0 to 10. The network is completely 100% owned by a Black family, and all the content has representation for Black people. So awesome place to go if you haven't already. If you are already a part of Black Education Station, I want you to post here what your favorite channel is. If you are not, I would like for you to join, at least follow them on IG, see kind of what they're up to. And yeah, so now let's get started. All right, so with me today, I have Joe. All right, Joe, tell me, so I call you Dr. Joveezy? Should I call you, tell me what you want to be called today.
You can call me Dr. Joveezy or Joe. I have a couple of aliases, but
yes,
so
yes,
much.
Yes,
but,
you do. I'm going to call you
by
Joe.
Yeah, you can call me Joe, because listen, I tell people, call me the name that you're comfortable. Honestly, it lets me know the level of our relationship, because I have how you have so many nicknames, your family calls you something, you know what I mean? So
yes,
Joe is
I love
cool.
It. Awesome. All right, so Joe and I met, has it been 3 years? Maybe about 3 years ago. I was speaking at a women's conference, and Joe was actually performing. She is I don't know who's frozen, if it's me or Joe. This happened last week. You guys, give me a heart or something if you can still hear me. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep rolling. She will hopefully get back with us. So Joe and I met at a women's conference. I was speaking, and she was actually performing. Joe is a poet and a drummer, and I'll let her tell you guys all about that when she jumps back in here. I think this is her. Oh my God.
Sorry about that. I think I accidentally clicked out.
Did you hang up on me? That's all right.
It wasn't intentional.
That's okay. So I was just telling everybody how we met, just kind of how we met at the women's conference. You were performing,
yes.
And I was speaking there, talking about kind of my journey, my introduction into motherhood and kind of what that looks like for me. And maybe I'll talk a little bit about that at some point on this podcast as well. But today it's all about you, Joe. So I want you to tell the audience just who you are, what you do, and kind of just a snapshot of Dr. Joveezy.
Definitely. Well, first of all, I just, I want to tell you, personally, I'm just so filled with gratitude that you would even invite me, to the platform. You're so modest with who you are, but you are, first of all, you do a lot of things as well. You're multifaceted. And the fashion, y'all, is lit. When I first met Candace, I was like, wow. And then you and your partner, how you all just kind of tag team it. Y'all really are a power couple. But the way that just the whole vibe and the energy that I got from you when we met, I just loved it. I knew we would be connected. And, we'll get into some more things, ways that me and you, interacted further after that. We reunited, so to speak. During my pregnancy, you helped me through a great, you were there through the heart of my journey of my first pregnancy. So, this conversation is going to be so lit.
Good.
But back to the question. I'm Dr. Joveezy. Some people call me Joe. My full name is Joveezy. I always like to share what my full name is as well, because it's literally a part of my journey of finding my purpose. And your purpose God continuously opens your purpose as you keep living, of course. Like grandma says, keep living. But my full name means beloved sweetheart of the Trinity. And I share that because I'm such a big promoter of knowing what your name means, because names are so significant to the mark you leave on the earth. And it was big for me because I never knew what my full name meant until I got to be an adult. And I literally found out and I was on the floor. Like,
Yes.
like literally, to be transparent, crying uncontrollably, full of joy, because I'm like, wow, God, you really just dropped one on me. Like, really, like it really like opened me up to like his heart. But to that point, I'm an affirmer. I love to affirm people. God has given me a gift to affirm people, and I don't take it lightly, because I know affirmation is such a big thing in my life. And when you affirm someone of their purpose, it makes them be more bold. For me, like God really just helped me to be like super bold when he, started to open up who I was. And I do that through spoken word, of course, the word. I do
Yes.
that through, I'm a rapper as well. I sing, I'm a drummer. I actually met my husband on the drum line. We'll get into a little bit of that later.
Yeah.
And I'm also DJ, and I'm an author now,
Yes.
and and we'll get into that too. And I also teach. I'm an educator, so I have experience all across the board. And one of the biggest pieces of what I do is I'm a community activator and a community organizer. And that work deeply has impacted my life so much. And yeah, so that's a bit about like the things that I do. My company is called Open Hearts, Open Minds, Open Mouths. And I launched that back in 2014 when I was completing my master's degree at Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. And I got my degree in organizational development. And yeah, after, entering that journey just kind of took me full force into impacting the community through my gifts, and then encouraging others to shine their gifts to impact the community as well.
Yes, I love it. All right, so I got to circle back around. I love what you said about names. I love that, and I know a lot of times, especially in the Black community, I think it's becoming more common now. But I know in the past, we grab the names that are popular in pop culture. We got the Kobe's. For a while we had Jordans and all types of names for our
Right.
kids. Now I know you are a mother, and so I gotta ask. Tell us about the ages of your children, and then what are their names, and what do their names mean?
Okay, so I have a 2-year-old, and she just turned 2 in September, the end of September. Had her during the pandemic, right in the heart of it. And her name is Ezra, and we spell it Ehzra. The H just to kind of like, give it a feminine twist,
Yes.
because obviously she's a girl, and Ezra is historically known to be a masculine name. However, when we looked that name up, first of all, let me just backtrack a little bit, even about during my pregnancy. So while I was pregnant, I was actually teaching middle school science. Started out in person, and then we shifted to going virtual. So
Mm-hmm.
my sixth grade homeroom class, they were so thrilled when me and my husband shared that we were having a child. When I told them that we were pregnant, they were so excited. They immediately started thinking of names. And
Ah,
at the time, I was teaching at a Christian school, so they were very into like prayer, and
beautiful name.
they were taught that it was just in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to them whenever they like shared things, because I'm like, for one, I know y'all got a relationship with God, and the saying,
Yeah.
out of the mouth of babes, and it's the purest
Mm-hmm.
form of God speaking. So
Yeah.
one of my students said Ezra, and there was a couple other names floating around too, but that name for some reason kind of stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and we looked it up, and I just kind of started studying the book of Ezra, and I started studying the meaning of the name. Simply put, the meaning is God's helper.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, that's the name right there.
That's
I'm
it.
sorry, that's
Yes.
it. That's it right there. Like,
Love it.
I'm not gonna search anymore. And more about that name, Ezra really did help us. Like, she was sent from God to help us usher in a new chapter in our marriage and our life. We had just gotten
Mm-hmm.
married in August of 2019.
Yeah.
So to find out I was pregnant in January 2020, I was like, whoa, I'm like, God, I'm ready to be a mom this quick. And for me, I was just floored. But we just kept moving. But to say the least, like Ezra is truly God's helper, and she models the Holy Spirit a lot because she will point to things, she will hint to things. The fact that I was pregnant during the pandemic was a whole there's a whole meaning behind that. It taught me more about compassion for myself, compassion for others, taking the time to sit my butt down and really
Yes.
just feel God's love and really just soak in who he is. Because I was a workaholic before that. And to the point where sometimes I would forget to eat.
Oh my gosh, girl. Now that's one thing I never
It's
forget is to
hilarious.
eat, okay?
Oh, I don't do that now.
If
I
you
was
know
crazy back
me,
then.
you know I don't miss meals, okay?
You smart. You smart. Yeah,
But it's
listen, your
easy to
girl was
do
tripping
like
back then.
as a mom and a working mom and somebody who does all these things, a wife, it's sometimes easy to
It
forget,
is.
to take care of yourself. So
It's
I'm
so
glad
real.
Ezra was able to help you out
Ezra,
between Ezra and COVID, you were able
she
to get it
wasn't
together.
going. Ezra
Yes.
wasn't going. She's like, girl, you gonna have to eat. I'm sorry, I'm here and I'm coming, so you gotta eat.
Yes,
If you ain't gonna eat
feed
for you, you gonna eat for me.
She was reminding you of that, huh?
She definitely was.
So
And
now tell me about
I
you have a son now too, right?
well, actually, we have another girl.
Another girl. So, okay, so the last time I saw you, you were pregnant, and I don't think did you guys know what you were having?
We didn't know. We
That's what
waited.
it
We
was.
waited
Okay, and I was
until
like, I know it's a
delivery.
boy. It's gotta be a boy. I was wrong.
We didn't know. We didn't really know. I was kind of expecting a boy. However, I was just open because this go round, I was just like, I just want to focus on who I want to be, who I want to become, who I'm becoming. As a mom, I had like a different lens with this pregnancy because having lived my pregnancy through like the first pregnancy through the pandemic, I learned so much about myself. Candace, like, and people can go back and like read stuff I've written because I write a lot about this. Like I write blogs and I wrote like a whole article about this about becoming. But there was a rebirth of Joe, with the first pregnancy. So me knowing that there is a rebirth and I'm becoming someone new, I wanted to be intentional about just focusing on who am I going to be as a mom of two now. So I didn't even focus on like I knew God would take care of all the things that the baby would need. Like I knew all of that, but I just wanted to really soak in like who am I becoming and let me not run away from it. Let me just soak in like who I'm becoming in the season and to bring another personality, another human being that has their own set of gifts and I really did want to focus on that. Speaking of gift, Ermaya is her name, and it literally means gift of God.
That's a beautiful name, Ermaya. It's so unique too. Ermaya, what is
Yeah.
the origin?
So I believe the origin of this name is Eritrean.
Okay.
And so, the famous rapper Nipsey Hussle?
Mm-hmm.
So I was a huge fan of him. And his name was Ermias, right? So
Okay.
we were like, if it's a boy, we're gonna name it Ermias because we
Ermaya.
didn't know the gender. But when we
Yeah.
when we found out it was a girl, I was like, well, this name, I just truly believe this name. I'm just led to name our baby Ermaya in some
Mm-hmm.
form or facet. And so we were sitting in the like I was fresh out of having her, laying in the hospital bed, just chilling, and me and
Mm-hmm.
Austin are on our phone, figuring out okay how we gonna do this. So I
Mm-hmm.
looked up the spelling. I spelled it EH, and so again, like Ezra's name is spelled EH, and Ermaya's name
Mm-hmm.
starts with an EH as well.
Nice.
And I was like, you know what? Let's just keep it with that theme. I looked it up, and it literally meant a gift of God. And so I
Wow.
was like, that's it. And her middle name is Jewel. And
Oh.
quick story about that. I'm a talker. I just be
Girl, go
wanting to
for it.
share.
Go.
But the night before my water broke,
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a dream that my water broke.
Oh.
And so while I was in this dream, I could feel everything. I could feel everything happening to my body. So when I woke up, I knew it was time for the baby to come. But
Mm-hmm.
before that, I meditated on the scripture. And I believe the scripture, I have to go and reference this scripture, but the scripture basically said that God, we as God's children are like the jewels of his crown.
That's
And
where
I
you got the
just
jewel.
meditated on that, got there. And
Beautiful.
this is not like, I didn't even say, hey, Austin, we're gonna give her middle name, make her middle name become Jewel. I didn't even say that. We were in the hospital and his grandmother's middle name is Jewel. He said it before I did.
Oh,
And
look at
immediately when
that.
he said it, I'm like, yo. It like, I had just like like one of those like That's So Raven moments. Like I used to
Yeah.
watch That's So Raven on Disney Channel when she used to have those.
Yes. I know
And
exactly
I
what
was
you're talking
like,
about.
what? What in the world? Her name is Jewel. It's like we can't even fight. We can't even fight it. Like
Wow.
it just happened naturally like that. But
Oh
yeah, to
my
say the least,
gosh.
we're truly blessed, and yeah, we're just truly blessed. We really are.
Wonderful. Now, Joe, you used to teach middle school. Did you teach any other grades when are you teaching now?
I'm not teaching that.
Stay
Well,
home.
I'll take that back. I actually do guest lecturing. From time to
Okay.
time, I do workshops at colleges.
Gotcha.
GGC in particular, I developed a partnership relationship with them a while back,
Mhm.
and I help to train and facilitate workshops to young Black men, because the
Wow.
retention rate for college for young Black men is really, really low. Like I don't think people realize like how low it is. So they developed a program at GGC in order to strengthen those numbers, and they invited me on as a facilitator. And so
Awesome.
yeah, it's been dope. I love everybody there, but other than that, and just teaching drums here and there, I'm not teaching full
Mhm.
time. So, but I'm
Well,
still
congratulations on that partnership. That's amazing. It really is very much needed. As we know, we're talking about raising royalty, and
yes,
raising our children, quote unquote, doesn't end, when they go off to college. It continues,
right.
even into
That's so real.
adulthood. So thank you. Thank you for that. And,
My
congratulations.
pleasure.
Now, when you were teaching though, so tell me, as far as you taught at a Christian school, did you teach at any public schools or anything like that?
I didn't teach at any
No public
public
school.
schools. That
Mm-hmm.
was my experience in teaching at the Christian school.
Gotcha.
I will say that just because I facilitated a lot of workshops at public schools and like different
Mm-hmm.
organizations, but not from the aspect of a teacher, but from the aspect as a guest facilitator coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The youth are really, really hungry in a public school setting. They're
Yeah.
really hungry for somebody to come in and be authentic
Mm-hmm.
and themselves, and not
Yes.
sugarcoat stuff, and just keep it all the way 100. Like
Yes.
they are really hungry for that, and you can tell because when you walk through the
Mm-hmm.
door, they're like, "Who are you?" They just kind of
Yeah. They gravitate to
they
it. Yeah.
gravitate. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
you know that there's a demand and a hunger for that type of energy in
Yeah.
public schools.
One of the big things that I have found lacking, and I think a lot of new parents, you can tell me if this is your experience or not, but being able to find content or, educational programming for our children with people that look like them. Now, we know that, there's PBS, there's Sesame Street, there's all of these, traditional programming that a lot of us probably grew up with, but I know one of the big challenges that a lot of parents face these days is finding programming with children who look like our kids, because I know that research has shown that we learn better from people that we identify with, right?
Right.
So being able to identify with the person who's teaching you is really important as far as the development and education of our children. What do you do to make sure that your kids are able to see, besides you guys? I know you and Austin do a lot of teaching and things like that with your babies, but as far as like making sure that they're exposed to I guess, diversity in the media. What is it that you do to kind of support that?
Well, luckily now, like we live in an age where we have so much access to media. We have so much access to the new things that are coming out. One of the things that Ezra really, really loves right now is
Mm-hmm.
Gracie's Corner.
Yeah, everybody
I have
loves
to shout
Gracie's
out
Corner.
Gracie's Corner.
Yes.
However, even with that, we're making sure that like when she's looking at videos and whatnot, or learning her conditioning her ABCs or colors or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, we make sure to
Mhm.
incorporate like her inside of it. Like,
Yeah.
so making sure we're addressing it and addressing her, like Ezra, this is you,
Mhm.
or E is
Yeah.
for Ezra. Like, we'll replace the
Yeah.
word that it's actually that they're actually presenting with her name. And
Mhm.
just let her know, like this is who you are, and this is material that you're engaging with, but this is for you. This is not for that person. That person um, is only a deliver of the message. However,
Mhm.
you can take this same message and you can embody it and you can express it in your own language. We don't,
Yeah.
we just try to make sure to make sure to let her be as authentic as possible. And at
Yeah.
2 years old, believe it or not, like she already has she already has
Yes.
her own personality, how she wants to do things.
Oh,
She's around
it
music all
starts
the
so
time.
early. It starts so
So
early.
it starts really early, and even with her, like for example, her ABCs, she says her ABCs, but she will actually play the rhythm a lot, and I don't
Nice.
stop her from doing it because I'm like, that's your way of learning. That you developed a cadence. Cadences come with so many things. Cadences are
Yes.
consistency. You have to do a cadence
Mhm.
when you like rhyme. You have to do cadences when you drum. I'm like, no, I'm not
She's
gonna
getting there
stop.
early. Well, both of you and your husband are both musicians, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
she,
are.
it's in her blood. You not have to worry about her getting cadence at all. She's got it. I love
Yes.
it. So I know you just released a new book. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about your book and just kind of the vision behind it and just kind of what was going through your mind when you decided to put it out there?
Oh my goodness. So this is, I have a story for everything,
I know
but
you
I
too.
mean, it's just like that's just how my life has played out. Like it,
Hmm.
and I love that fact. And I actually want to talk about that too, because to the point of like media and whatnot and what's being exposed to kids and youth in general, I feel like there's two different polarities that's being exposed. Like there's doing really, really well and successful, and then there's like the negative images, but they never
Mm.
show, like nothing's being shown of the steps in between. You know,
Yeah.
it's a huge glamorization of the end product,
Hmm.
but the steps in between, it's like those aren't covered enough, and so then like I feel like there's a generation of youth that feel like they once they start something, it's going to automatically blow up.
Yes, it's
So the
easy, right?
resilience and the
Yes.
consistency, and I'll be transparent, Candace, like I have fallen into that a lot. Like God is still working on me when it comes
Mm.
to that, because I'm like, I want to start, and I want to get the affirmation, I want to get the
Yes. You
the
want it to be
accolade,
popping right away.
I want it to
Yeah.
be, I want to get
Hmm.
the, all this, but it takes time to develop not only your relationship with what you're doing and the people that you're around, but you're also strengthening your relationship with God. Like He's going to be able to trust you even more, like if you're faithful over just every little step. And
Mm.
whew, that's a whole lesson for me. So I'm like,
Yes.
I always just want to, I always want to tell people about that. But the book is called Women Connected in Wisdom,
Okay.
and it focuses on the 8 dimensions of wellness. And the story behind this is um, not for, I believe, 5 years ago. So before the pandemic, I along with another colleague of mine, Christine. Shout out to Christine. She's a homie for real. We started a mastermind group for women, and we met
Okay.
every Monday at a Starbucks at 7 a.m. First of all, your girl is not a morning person, and I
Yeah.
definitely wasn't a morning person then. However, there was just a big spiritual, like something that just called me to do this, because I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
me and Christine had developed a really strong relationship. Like we had met doing like neighborhood community stuff, and I just really thought her energy was dope when it came to advocating. And she's a white woman, and
Mm.
I was like, wow, she's really on fire for social justice and like making sure people of color like really advocate, really are advocated for. And I was like, you know what? This is exactly the world that I want to create. I want to create people that don't look like me working with people like me, and
Right,
being
right,
as
right.
passionate as I am to be, free and, You know what I'm saying? Like it was that part for me, you know,
Yeah.
you know, us, the unity. So
Yes.
we started this group and it built over time. There were more women being added to the group.
Hmm.
And then I invited my homegirl Shannon. Shout out to Shannon, CEO of Shaylo Glow. She has a dynamic self-care product line that is awesome. And I will send you some information, even probably get some free samples your way too, Candy. Uh, um, and I invited her, and so we all just started to get close. We shared our goals at this meeting. We shared our what we needed support for. We were just there for each other as sisters. And
Hmm.
I always wanted a well of wisdom and a crew, if you will, of women where we all just like were down for each other, you know,
Yeah.
and we all lifted each other up in our goals and whatnot. And so over
Hmm.
time, this built up, and Christine and Shannon collabed on a podcast called Women Connected
Okay.
in Wisdom.
Oh.
And this podcast talked about the 8 dimensions of wellness:
Mhm.
occupational health, spiritual health, emotional health, physical health, you know, all the things. And
Hmm.
as they focused on that, there was so much wisdom, wealth of wisdom coming from women that they interviewed on their show. And actually, I
Hmm.
dropped your name too. I said they need to interview you on their show. So they probably will be hitting you up too. But this
Okay.
podcast, they've been doing this podcast since the pandemic launched and since the pandemic started. And this podcast is now top 10% internationally. And I'm
Wow.
like, wow, like this is incredible. And so we all collabed and we sat, you know, at the table together again and said,
Hmm.
listen, let's share, you know,
Yeah.
all these things. Let's share this wealth of wisdom with women, with
Hmm.
men, with whoever wants to know, you know, about how to make sure they're walking the earth as a well person, as a whole person.
Mm.
This book gets really deep, and not in just one area. Like it's not all spiritual. It talks about
Yeah.
practical ways that you can become a well person, all focusing on the 8 dimensions of wellness. And
Wow.
my chapter is activate your superpower, which is of course spiritual health, because I feel
Hmm.
like God gave me a lot to share about just my spiritual journey. And there's some things about emotional as well, but activate your superpower is actually a curriculum that I had launched a while back for youth, and
Hmm.
currently working on some more material for that as well. But that is how I got my start in
Yeah.
education,
All
you know,
right,
and
Joe. I'm
yeah.
hearing a lot of stuff. All right, listen. Number one, I would love to do the podcast. Okay. So yes, yes, for sure. I would love to do that. Um, I want you to tell me, as far as how when we raise our children and we think about the dimensions of wellness and how we raise whole and healthy children. I want to hear some advice. Like, tell us as parents. I know I mean, you're kind of a new mom, but you got it. So tell
Oh,
us,
day to day.
tell us some ways that, we can raise, we're talking about raising royalty. How do we raise whole, healthy children in this day and age in 2022? I was about to say 23, 2022.
We're
I know
closely
it's
approaching.
almost there. I'm not trying to rush it though. But how do we do that as parents, as mothers, as teachers, educators? How do we have a hand in making sure that our children are whole and healthy, as they grow into adults?
Well, the first thing I will say is just having a health, like really modeling out having a healthy relationship with self,
Mm.
right? Having a healthy relationship with yourself. And,
Mhm.
you know, children need to see their parents taking care of themselves, loving themselves for who they are. You know, we think it's something small, but I even look back to my rearing. Like my mom, showed me, through action, the way that she cared for herself, the way that she
Mm.
put her love into things that she did. Even encouraging me to do things that I love. My mom was the
Yeah.
very, very first person to encourage me to play a musical instrument, and
Wow.
it completely changed it changed the whole structure of my life,
Yeah.
entering
Yeah.
into the world of music. But I would say equipping children with definitely with godly principles. And the reason why I said self-love first is because I know for a fact God teaches that. You know, like the most important like commandment ever is like love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself? Like how can you love your neighbor at a level
Yeah.
that's required when you don't love yourself? And so
Mm-hmm.
definitely teaching self-love, teaching unity, and
Mm-hmm.
most importantly, just teaching that God sees you as the most loved creation ever.
Yeah. I
Like
love that.
love is just the center of it, because then you know
Mm-hmm.
everything else stems from that, you know. And like you said, again, I am a new mom, but I feel like these are some of the most important times in motherhood, and I've been told that by mothers who are definitely more seasoned. You've told me, you know, to embrace. I remember during pregnancy you told me to
Yes.
embrace, you know, just
Yes.
embrace the times, you know, when children are young, because they're sponges,
Mm-hmm.
and those are
Yes.
very powerful moments. So
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. I love it. Okay. What else can we talk about? Let's talk. Okay. So you went to an HBCU, right?
I did.
Where did you go?
So I went to the Jackson State University, the I love.
The, excuse me, the illustrious Jackson State. Awesome. And then I went to Spelman. I don't know if you guys in the audience are aware, but I attended Spelman College.
Yes,
I'm going to say that the
love
HBCU.
it.
Oh, okay. Wait, before we get into that. Yeah, shout out to the fathers who are watching. I think we've been focusing on mom and motherhood quite a bit. We have a guy next week as our
Yes.
guest, but this week we have a woman. So we are speaking to what we know.
We couldn't do
Okay.
it without, listen, we
We
couldn't do it
couldn't.
without the daddies,
We
without
couldn't.
our
So,
fathers,
yes,
without our men. Yes.
shout out to the fathers. Thank you for joining us and thank you for supporting us in the work that we do in raising these babies.
Yes.
So, HBCU. So, tell me how do you feel? Um, what, what
Somebody
impact
said
does it
shout to
have?
Dion.
I know. I see. Yes. Shout out to Dion. Yes. Um, So I will say this about my experience going to an HBCU. I feel like, I like to say, my parents raised me, but Spelman blazed me. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm,
became a woman. I became who I am now, as a result of attending an HBCU. And I don't think that I would have, I know for a fact that I would have had that experience at a PWI. So tell me,
absolutely.
how do you feel like going to an HBCU kind of influenced the way you are now, the way you are as a mother, and are you going to make your daughters go to an HBCU? Question of the day.
Well, you know, I can't say on camera that I'm going to make them
Yes,
go to
because
an
this is,
HBCU, but you know, it'll definitely be hot, you know, encouraged a
yes.
lot in the house, and they're going to be exposed. They're already being exposed. They're watching band videos probably once a
Mm.
day.
Yeah, you guys
You know,
probably in the house
seeing.
drumming all day and stuff.
Listen, we
So,
got. I can take you on a tour. You'll see at least 3 practice pads and a
oh my
guitar and
gosh.
drumsticks all over the place. So, but you know, I would say going to an HBCU, it was just powerful because I got a chance to see people who look like me
Hmm.
all the time thriving. Because,
Yes.
you know, not just seeing the people who are in the journey with me, but professors who share, like,
Hmm.
who are not afraid and not too high, you know, to share their life and to
Yes.
share like how they became who they are.
Hmm.
Um, I could shout out so many people from Jackson State that really made a huge impact on my life. You know, like I could go down the Rolodex of all the people that impacted me. One that I'm thinking about in particular was this man named Dr. Sutton. And
Hmm.
I'm sure Dr. Sutton is not on Instagram because he's probably like, I'm not into social media like that. But Dr. Sutton, I know some people who went to Jackson State know him too, though. He was so
Hmm.
real and authentic. He taught a university success class, and that's the class you have to take as a freshman. Every freshman,
Yes.
it was mandatory. You had to take that class because it told you
Hmm.
how to study. It told you how to interact with your peers. It showed you how to manage your time. And he really just went in this class. He was so transparent, so authentic,
Hmm.
and he ended up being my advisor. And I was so grateful. I was so
Yes.
grateful. He helped me out so much. The other thing about going to an HBCU is that I was able to kind of learn who I am. You know, so
Yes.
I was kind of, you know, still to this day, I'm kind of tomboyish. I like sports a lot. I played
Mm-hmm.
drums. I was on the drum line.
Yeah.
However, I still was able to learn so much about who I am because not only did I play drums, I also was like a pageant queen. You know, I had the opportunity to be
So
like
diverse.
you,
I love
but I
it.
never would have. You know, I never would have imagined that I would have the opportunity to do those things. You know, being in a sorority, shout out to Tau Beta Sigma sorority, honorary band sorority. I was able
Mm,
to become a part of a sisterhood that was so, oh, it was such a dope sisterhood because I could tell these girls my whole life and they would be there to
mm-hmm.
support me. I could cry with them. I could laugh with them. We would be in band practice all hours of the night, you know, helping pass out uniforms and serve, you know, helping to serve the band. And these were my
Mm-hmm.
sisters, and I had never really had a sisterhood like that before then, because I was always doing like male-dominated activities, like drum lights, a lot of guys. So entering
Yeah.
into that sisterhood showed me a different side of myself, you know, getting my makeup done, you
The
know,
hair and the
saying, hey,
makeup,
you're
yeah.
beautiful. Like to look in the mirror and see my hair and my makeup done and like, wow,
Yeah.
like you know, I can really be every woman, like Whitney Houston said,
Yeah.
Whitney and Shaka.
Yes, yes, I love it. Yeah. So it's kind of the same way for me. You know, I grew up, I have a brother, he and I are very close in age, we're like 18 months apart. And so like his friends were my friends. So I grew up, you know, playing basketball, you know, I was a
Yes.
huge tomboy. But my mom was very, very feminine, like very feminine. Like she was like, I'm not leaving the
Wow.
house without makeup. You know, she was always dressed and everything. So it's always so funny to me, you know, when I think back, you know, she passed away in 2011, but when I think back on a lot of our conversations, she probably was like, this girl, what am I going to do with her?
Wow. Oh my
But,
goodness.
you know, as I became, you know, as I started getting older, probably senior year in high school into college, you know, I started getting into makeup and, you know, doing my own hair and then fashion. And then there was like no turning back. But every, you know, I still will pick up a basketball. If I see a basketball hoop, I
Yes.
pass it back, I'm picking it up, I'm shooting.
Let's go.
So,
Okay.
you know, that it doesn't go away, but definitely I feel like it's been refined and, you know, I've become a lot more, you know, I've become more me, you know, and I think I definitely owe a lot
Yeah,
of that to attending an HBCU and, like you said, that sisterhood and that
for
camaraderie
sure.
between other people that look like you.
So
Uh,
question, has your
mhm.
daughter seen your basketball skills?
Yes. Oh, listen, girl, I
Oh,
can't believe I haven't told you this story. So my daughter, I'm not even going to tell it on here because she's probably watching. But yes, I actually coached her AAU team one summer. When she thought she might want to play, and
wow.
but she has decided, you know, she is an actress. She does acting. She's a dancer, and I saw that as I was coaching her team because she was like twirling down the basketball court instead of running,
Wow.
and so that's how I knew. I was like, yeah, all right, we have a dancer, and that's cool. I love it. I love
Wow.
that
That's dope.
because, you know, where as a parent, a lot of times we find that we want to pour into our children all the time. You know, a lot of times it's nice to just sit back and let our children pour into us. Like she teaches me so much,
Mm,
and I think as you know, someone who's raising children, it's really important to know that you don't know everything, and
mm-hmm.
to also just let your kids, you know, grow and flourish and be themselves. A lot of times they want to be like us, right? I'm
Yes.
sure she probably wanted to play because she knew I played. But for her to be honest enough with herself and for me to support, you know, you don't have to play basketball. You can do, you know, anything you want to do.
That's right.
But yeah,
Anything, literally. Yes.
yes. But
I
she
love
is
it.
a dancer and an actress.
Oh,
So
I love
that's
it.
been a fun little layer of knowledge added to my life as well. So it's
The
been good.
arts. The
Yes, it's
arts.
been a lot of
That's
fun.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, so I'm not super experienced doing live. So I'm trying to go back and forth between reading the comments, talking to you, looking at my
Yeah.
notes. But I have seen in the comments a couple of times people are saying that you need to be making some content for Black Education Station. And I think I mentioned this
Wow.
to you before when we talked, but if you weren't aware, Black Education Station does have space for content creators right now. If you want to teach drums, you can make videos about teaching drums. If you want to get
That's
on and
it.
talk about whatever you want to do that's targeted at children ages 0 to 10, um, Black Education Station is the place for you. I know you mentioned Gracie's Corner. There are a lot of cartoons, music videos, things similar to that on BES as well. So if you
Wow.
haven't had a chance to check it out, make sure you do. And then you and I are definitely going to be talking about
Yes.
getting your content on there, whatever it is, because it sounds like you may have a few options as to what can be on there. But I
Absolutely.
love it. Awesome, awesome. Okay,
Absolutely. This is
well, let's
good.
see. Yes, I love it. Mm, let's see here. I'm looking at my notes.
I'm loving that shoe collection in the background.
I know I saw
You
somebody
got
say
the
I'm distracted
shoes
by
and
the
the
red bottoms. Yeah,
I
this is
love it.
my
Yes.
Zoom background. Yeah,
Listen, if y'all don't know why Candace is looking at her notes, she puts it down on the fashion. I can't reiterate that enough. And I don't know if you remember, Candace, but right before the pandemic, me and you had we were supposed to get together because I wanted you to revamp
yes,
my whole closet. And that's still
yes.
like we tabled it, but I'm still gonna reach out even about that. We have a lot to talk
Hmm.
about.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we do. Well, while we are, I guess we are about to wrap it up. I want to leave some space if anyone has any questions. So if anyone has questions, please post them in the comment box. But while we wait for that, Joe, tell people where they can find you, where they can find your book, and just how they can connect with you outside of the space.
Absolutely. First and foremost, shout out again, Christine Gotru and Shannon, for just being amazing facilitators of like bringing us together to write this book. The book is found on Amazon, can be found on Amazon, and the easiest way to reach like everything that I spoke about on the live tonight is to go to my Instagram page, which is Dr. Joveezy, which is DrJoveezy. And my link tree has all of the links. It has links to everything that I talked about content wise, and the book is on the very top. And I have to shout out, we're also doing a Women Connected in Wisdom conference. Um, yes, that will be next week actually, and it's
Oh,
free.
wow.
So we are giving
Okay.
some luscious gems of content and wisdom for free
Love
next
it.
week through this conference. And that conference link is also on my link tree. So the link that's in my bio, you just tap that and it'll take you to the book, the conference, any other content that you want to know about me. I love sharing because why not? We're all living life together and these things help us to live an even more elaborate life. So
Mhm. Yes, I love it. Thank you for that, Joe. As I mentioned, I don't have any projects going on right now. Okay. So my biggest thing that I've been partnering with is with Black Education Station. We've talked about them a couple
yes.
of times, but you guys, please make sure you visit their Instagram page. I know a couple of things that they are working on. Number one is a commercial. So they're offering people, parents and children, an opportunity to be featured in one of their commercials. Is really easy. It's going to be fun. So make sure you check that out.
Mm.
We are pushing for subscribers. The station started taking subscribers in early September. So you guys, please, if you haven't already, make sure you check it out. And also content creators. So Joe, we'll be talking. Anyone else who is listening or watching today, if you are interested in becoming a content creator, if you have content for children that you've already created. I know a lot of times people are like, yeah, it's just on YouTube, or follow me or like my page on YouTube. But when you talk about YouTube, you are giving business to YouTube. You're not promoting yourself, you're promoting YouTube. And
Right.
if that's the case, why not promote something that's 100% Black owned? That's it. That's my
Come
only point.
on.
Just do it.
Talk your
Okay.
talk, Candace.
So you guys make sure you check out Black Education Station here on Instagram. Their Facebook page is Black Education Station as well. And just see what's going on. We have a few events here in the Atlanta area that I would love for some of you guys to come out to. The next one is November 25th. It's a Black Friday event and weekend. So check that out. And obviously I'm here if anyone has questions. But I don't see any questions here for us today. So finally, I want to say thank you again, Joe, for
Thank
joining
you.
Dr. Joveezy. I feel like when I say Dr. Joveezy, I have to do like the head and that, like I can't just say it straight. So
A
Joe
lot of
or
people say
Dr.
that.
Joveezy. I mean,
I
it's a
love
sassy
it.
name. It's sassy. It's sassy.
I,
Um, But thank you
Shout
for
out to my
joining me
mentor that gave
today.
me the name.
Oh,
Thank you
that's
so
a dope
much.
name. It's a dope name. And everybody, please check out everything that Joe has going on as well, and join me next week with our guest, Dr. Tony West, the only West we recognize in this house, the only
Hey,
Dr. West.
okay.
I was swear. But yeah, Dr. Tony West will be joining us next Tuesday. Same place, same time, and I am looking forward to that conversation as well. Until then, everybody take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.